It is Tuesday, January 26th, and I don't know about you, but I am ready for some bell work. Actually, hopefully, you already have this done, and now you're just checking it, so you're extra ready for your bell work. For number one, I ask you to write, and then I give you this amount that's written in expanded place value form, and I ask you to write this in standard form. And remember, when we do that, we start with the lowest place value. So in this case, as I'm looking, here's 1,000, here's 10, here's 1/10, here's 1/100th. So this is going to be the lowest place value. So I'm going to start off by putting a 2 in the hundredths place. And now I have to ask myself, what would go in the tenths place, because that's what's next to the hundredths. And I see a number multiplied by 1/10. It is 3. I'll put a 3 there. And we know that next to that tenths place, we need a decimal point. Now, the next place over would be the ones, and I do not see anything multiplied by 1. So I'm going to put a 0 in that place. The next one over would be the tens place, not the tenths, the tens. And I see a 4 times 10, so I'll put a 4 there. The next one over would be 100, and I don't have anything multiplied by 100, so I put a 0. And the next one over would be 1,000, and I see 5 multiplied by 1,000. So your answer should be 5,040 and 32 hundredths. For number 2, I ask you to do the opposite of what I asked you to do for 1. I want you to take this and write it in expanded place value form. This is expanded place value form. That's what you want it to look like. So I'm going to start off and take 2 times 1,000, because this 2 is in the thousands place. Plus, I don't have to do 0 times anything, because 0 times anything is 0, so it's not necessary. So I'm going to skip over to this 4. This 4 is in the tens place, so I'm going to do 4 times 10. And this 7 is in the ones place, so I'm going to do 7 times 1. Now I've hit the decimal point. I'm not putting this in word form. I do not need to write the word and. I'm just going to keep going with this process. This 9 is in the tenths place, so I'm going to take 9 times 1/10. Plus, I have another 0. 0 times 100th is 0. We don't have to write that because it's 0. So we don't write plus 0 because it doesn't do anything. I have a 3, and the 3 is in the thousands place, so I need to write plus 3 times 1,000th. So that's what that should look like. All right, for number 3, we're taking these words and writing them in standard form. So here we go. Sorry, I got a little text message. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Write 17,000 and. So that means that 17,000 is going to be in front of the decimal point. So I'm going to put 17,000 and follow that with a decimal point. 17,000 and. And the second part of this says 106 thousandths. Now I know that the thousandths place is 3 over, so that means I want my last digit in 106 to be in the thousandths place, and it does end up being there. So we're good. So this would be 17,000 and 106 thousandths. Okay, now we're going to calculate each sum or difference. Remember, just that's a fancy way of saying the result of an addition problem, the result of a subtraction problem. So let's take care of number 4. I have 276 and 25 hundredths, plus I want to add 13.8 to that. I need to make sure that my decimal points are lined up in the same spot. That means the 13 is going to be located here and the 8 is here. And I know it looks a little weird when you look at it because there's a gaping hole right there. There's nothing there. What number represents nothing? Oh, 0 does. Now we're ready to add. 5 plus 0 is 5. 2 plus 8 is 10. So there's my 10. And 6 plus 1 is 7, and 7 plus 3 is 10. And 7, 8, 9, that's why 6 was afraid of 7. And 2 plus empty box, you could put a 0 there too if you wanted. You don't have to. 2 plus nothing is 2. The only thing left to do is build our snowman. Drop down that decimal point. So we get 290 and 5 hundredths for number 4. All right, we're ready to move on to number 5. Number 5, we're finding a difference here. This is a subtraction problem. I can't change the order of this. My 4.7 needs to go on the top. And I'm supposed to take 3 and 93 hundredths away from that. It must be set up like that. Now you cannot just say, oh, there's nothing here, so I'm just going to bring down my 3. This means 0 minus 3. And you can't take 3 away from nothing, so we have to borrow from this 7. Now I'm going to give that 10 to the 0. 10 minus 3 is 7. And now again, I cannot take 9 away from 6, so I have to borrow from this 4, and I add 10 to the 6, which is 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. And 3 minus 3 is 0. And I'm going to line up those little decimal points there. Don't forget your decimal point. So 77 hundredths is what you should have. All right, we are on number 6 now. And it's another difference here. 44 and 31 hundredths minus 12 and 6 tenths. Again, I know it looks really weird to have this hole right here, but these decimal points must be lined up when you're setting up your problem. Put a 0 where that big hole is. And now we're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. I cannot take 6 away from 3, so I'm going to borrow from this 4. And now I have 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. And I build my snowman. So I have 31 and 71 hundredths. All right, one left. We have number 7. I'm just going to solve that right underneath here because I can. I see an 89, and I remember Mrs. Trombley saying over and over and over again, if there's not a decimal point there, you can really put one in after it because I still have 9 ones and 8 tens. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to write 89 with a decimal point after it. And now I know when I set this up, I need to put 24 and 8 hundredths like so. That's what it should look like. And these empty boxes here, I can put zeros in, and we're going to go ahead and add. 0 plus 8 is 8. 0 plus 0 is 0. I'll just drop down that decimal point now. 9 plus 4 is 13. I carry my 1. 2 plus 8 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So I have 113 and 8 hundredths. And that is your bell work for Tuesday. Good luck on the rest of your work today. Thanks for working so hard.